My next guest has said the Eurozone crisis could be over in 2 to 3 years. Klaus Regling is the head of Europe's financial bailout fund, and he joins me in the studio. Delighted to have you with us.
Good morning.
How far have we come since last year? Just give us a sense of that to start with.
Well, compared to the mood in Davos a year ago, there's a tremendous difference. And there are very good reasons for that. And I think it's important to be aware why the mood has changed. It's not just a mood swing. There are good reasons. And there are four that I want to mention. One, there's real adjustment in the southern European countries and the periphery, in competitiveness, in fiscal consolidation, smaller current account deficits, exports are rising. That's the first point.
Yeah.
Second, stricter rules for policy coordination in the euro area. Third, stronger banking sector today with all the things we are doing, also support from the EFSF and the ESM, and largely the institutional gaps have been closed in the euro area with the creation of the ESM and with the approach of the ECB on OMT.
If the worst of the crisis is over, and the sense I'm getting from you is one of optimism, could the ESM end up not being fully used?
That's my baseline expectation, of course, my central expectation. At the moment, the EFSF finances and continues to finance Greece, Portugal and Ireland, the adjustment programs. ESM finances the Spanish bank restructuring. Possibly decisions will be taken soon, possibly Cyprus. But that means more than 80% of our firepower, more than 400 billion euros unused. And that's very good. That's reassuring for everybody.
You mentioned Cyprus. How can their public finances be made sustainable, do you think?
We are in the middle of those discussions. It's a difficult case. We know that mainly the banking sector in Cyprus is a problem. It's too big for the economy. It needs to be slimmed down. Also, they suffered, to be fair to the Cypriots, they suffered from the operations we did in Greece. Cypriot banks lost all their capital because of that. So they need to recapitalize. So the biggest chunk of money that's needed is for the banks, but they also need to adjust their fiscal situation.
I would talk a little bit more about the banks. Again, you speak with optimism as to how far we've come and where we're going. There are some who would speak less optimistically about the banks. Where do you want to see the sector a year from now?
Well, I think I'm not optimistic, I'm realistic. I think European banks are...
You're more optimistic than you were last year at this time.
Not that much more. The difference is that a year ago I was pretty isolated.
Right.
Now it's more mainstream thinking. The European banks are stronger for a number of reasons. Capital has been increased for most banks. There was the EBA program, 9% core 1 capital is there reached for most European banks. We are supporting the weaker banking systems with the Spanish restructuring program, and also the other adjustment programs we have with Greece, Ireland, Portugal have an important element, each one of them, to restructure the banks. So there's a lot happening.
Have we seen the last of the sovereign bailouts?
Well, we talked about Cyprus.
We've talked about Cyprus. But what about Spain?
We have not taken the decision. Spain receives money from its European partners to restructure the banks. Even that amount is much smaller than we thought 6 months ago. There was a political commitment to provide up to 100 billion. It looks like they only need around 40 billion, which is good news. And this was after thorough stress testing by independent auditors. And interest rates have come down for Spain like for other countries in southern Europe.
So no sovereign bailout in Spain this year?
No.
Okay. Who have you talked to in Davos?
Well, I'm here mainly to talk to investors because one of the main functions of the EFSF ESM is to issue bills and bonds. So I have to sell those to investors. Otherwise, we cannot finance the programs in Greece, Portugal, and Ireland.
How has that selling been going?
We haven't had a problem last year, but now everything is a lot easier because the mood has improved so much. And I'm also very happy if they start buying, which they do, southern European sovereigns directly. And we know that the issues from Spain, Portugal and Ireland the last few days were very, very successful. So foreign, non-European investors in particular are coming back to southern European sovereigns. And that's the best possible sign that we can have.
Klaus Regling, many thanks for talking with Reuters. It's been a pleasure having you in the studio.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.